Firstly, what is the problem? So this is our boiler. This is a gas boiler, and you can see the central heating pressure gauge is over here. Okay, normally we can keep it at 1 bar. And the problem is we need to top up from here very often. And it used to be like 4 to 6 weeks we need to top up because the pressure drop to like 0.2 bar or nearly 0. So when it's too low, the boiler won't work properly or stop working, and we need to top up the central heating water pressure. And now it's getting worse and worse. Something like 2 or 3 weeks we need to top up the pressure of the central heating. I have got another video on how to top up this boiler water. So now, what is the cause of the problem? I identified the leaking over here. So you can see this is from upstairs and to downstairs near the front door. We have the 2 central heating pipe over here and dropped from upstairs. And here we got a turn, and you can see the leaks over there. And here we got a T connector connecting to the sitting room. There's another radiator over there. And here we have these 2 pipes connecting. Here is the drain valve, and to the other side. So the problem is here. Now I'm using a fish can to catch the water. You can see, and it used to be like a few weeks we get 1 can, and now like 2 or 3 days we can get 1 can. Now you see it is full over there. And actually the leak is from this section. And also I found it's quite difficult to do any soldering using torch to heat it up. If you see here the white line is a telephone line, and we got the earth line connected to the metal central heating pipes and get out over there to the electric meter box. And also if I take this water can out, you can see we have another line here. This is the power line to the socket of the sitting room. And also you see the black one. Black one is the water main for the house. So the water main is actually plastic, black plastic. So it's quite, I think it's quite dangerous to heat this section up to repair because of the power line. Of course I can switch off the electricity supply, but it's still it's not safe. And also the water main plastic. And now I want to do something because the leaking, you see the water here is leaking too much, and I need to top up the boiler central heating water pressure very often. So I'm going to do something about it today. So today I'm going to do something about this central heating pipe leak. And what I have bought, this is the push and fit connector. I got them from the B&Q store, you can see. So it is okay for the central heating or hot and cold water. So it's just 2 of these. And I use 1 connector here, use 1 connector on this pipe. And between these 2 connectors, I'm going to use this flexible or say bendable copper pipe. And it is 15 millimeter and 300 millimeter long. It's called copper plumbing stick. and there's the instructions. You can use your hands to bend to the required shape. So hopefully I can do a shape to that space. And I also bought some steel wool from Wilco. It's for I think it's a 1.25, and also I got B&Q the pipe cutter for 50 millimeter and for 22 millimeter for like 15 pounds. And this pipe is £6, 75, cheaper than available on eBay. So that's what I'm going to do, the things I'm going to use. Bleeding the radiator. We still have about half bar pressure for the central heating pipes. So I think we're going to do some radiator bleeding to reduce the pressure so that when we cut the pipe, we can reduce the water loss. So to bleed the radiator, we're going to need radiator bleeding key. This is a quite old bleeding key. So we're going to use this bleeding valve here and get this into it and turn it anti-clockwise to open it and bleed the radiator. To bleed the radiator, we can use this square key, get into the valve, and we just turn it anti-clockwise to see there's gas coming out and also some water. We just release it until all the air come out. When there's the water flowing down there, so that I think that should be okay. We can tighten it up. Okay, now, so we can do the same bleeding process for all the radiators. To reduce the water loss of the central heating system, turn off all the valve of radiators. So for radiators in this old system, so we have this lock shield valve and we have this hand valve on this side. So the lock shield valve, normally you can't turn it, and you only turn it when you try to balance your radiators. And for this, you see there's the cross screw. Use the cross screw to lose this or take it out, and then the cap can be removed. After removed, you can use a spanner to turn this off. So we have radiators from different types, and for this one, the lock shield valve, we need a 1/4 inch spanner. Was about 6 or 7 millimeters. So we turn it clockwise to shut it. Now it is a closed position. So for the other side, we just turn with the hand clockwise to shut it off. So for all the radiators, we're going to close all the valves to reduce the water loss. Also, to reduce the water loss, we're going to turn off the valve. This is a central heating pipe going out, and this is the central heating pipe coming back. So we're going to turn this 90 degrees to keep the water in the boiler, not to drain out when we cut the pipe. Yeah, this is very tight. That's how far I can turn. And also this central heating water out valve clockwise as far as you can turn. So this is okay. So now we have switched off the central heating pipe out of boiler and into the boiler, all switched off, so the water in the boiler will be kept. Even I'm going to cut the pipe to drain some water out of the system. This is the lowest drain, so we can use a segment of a pipe. Get it over here, and I have a bucket here. I'm going to open it up to see if I can drain any water inside the central heating system. Now I've got this pipe connected and got a bucket and the pipe into the bucket, and there's the valve. I need I think 8mm spanner, so we can open it. So it's a fully open position. There's nothing coming out. Maybe this is too high. Yeah, some water flowing out slowly. We're going to wait until it stops flowing. I open this to maximum, so you can see here the flowing. I think all the waters in the pipes at least will be flowing out here. So quite a lot of water already. Now after a few minutes, I think it's now stopped. You see that the water we have got out of the pipes of the central heating. Now we can close this drain pipe. That's okay now. Cleaning. Before cut the pipe, I'm trying to do some cleaning because there is some rust. You can see the green rust. So I used some soap water, and I used some of this steel cleaner, and I used some sandpaper just to try to clean them before I cut the pipe. As you can see, this is a very limited space. I just use this sandpaper strip and use two hands back and forth to clean this rust, particularly this side, because I think I'm going to use this section. And for this vertical one, I think I may cut about this. So in that case, I don't need sandpaper. I just use some steel wool. It should be okay. I think now they're clean enough, as you can see here. And at the later stage, I'm going to use the steel wool to clean. So I'm going to cut the pipe from here, and obviously this pipe cutter is too big for the space over here. I just barely get my finger into that gap, so the only thing I have to use is this hand saw. So this is just a saw blade, and you can use this to tighten it up. And then I think I'm going to just try to cut like this. I think it will take some time to cut it through. So now you can see it start leaking. So I think I can cut with this tiny saw here. You can see it's leaking over there. So I will keep cutting. It takes a long time. I have cut through the pipe from the top and the bottom. Use this hand saw, and you can see still some water coming out. I'm just trying to use some kind of container to get them out. And also you can see here, just use a 2 old screwdriver to separate the two pipes a little bit apart so that I can get this saw blade between the pipe so that I could cut on the top of the pipe. So with this old hand saw, I have managed to cut it through the pipe here. With more water coming out after I cut it through, you see there. So hopefully now I cut there, I'm going to use a connector over there. And for this one, hopefully I can just move it a little bit out so that I could use the normal cutter to cut the pipe. So now you can see I just moved this behind that pipe. You can see now it's out. So I should have enough space to cut with this standard pipe cutter. I don't know where I'm going to need to cut it, but it's safe to just cut the lowest part so that I can clear here. I can bend the copper pipe to a shape. So I will cut as lowest as possible around here. Here is where I can slip the cutter in. So now I have pushed this cutter in. See, there's the arrow over there. We just turn that way so that we can cut this pipe. Just turn, keep turning. It will just adjust the blade automatically. So now all the pipe has been cut. You see, the standard pipe cutter cut the things much nicer. So I maybe ever need to cut it further later on, but now I can take this leaking part out of the way. So you can see this is the parts has been leaking for a long time, several years now, as you can see. So we're going to replace it with a bendable copper with 2 push-fit connectors. Hope it will work. I will use some sandpaper to smooth the end of this pipe, and also some files to make it smooth. And this side should be okay. So later on for both pipe, I'm going to use steel wool to clean it before I put the pipes into the push-fit fitting connectors. So this is the connector, and the instruction here is just to say, so cut the pipe. If it's a plastic, you use that kind of cutter and use insert. And for the copper pipe, you can just use the copper pipe only. And you can see here, so you can cut, there's the stop over there. So you cut it until the stop. I think around here in the middle, there's the stop for both sides of the pipe. You stop there. So I think it's around there. So insert position is around there for that bendable pipe. And then you push the pipe in from both sides, and then you twist that way to lock everything up to seal much better than the original, and that's the lock position. And if in case in future you want to disconnect, you just twist in that way, and then push the collar here, push the collar in, and take the pipe out of this connector. So that's how to use this connector. So it's roughly here, each side I'm going to use connector, and I'm going to get to about that position, and then I'm going to bend the pipe to a shape to the location. Yeah, so we can make a mark. See, it is going to be around there. So now you can see I got a mark over there. It's not a very good pen, but it's visible. And also on this side, so that's parts will be roughly inside the connector. So that section will be outside the connector. Now I have bent the pipe to this shape. Hopefully it is about the right, and on the top I can get it to connect it to there. So I need to cut the vertical pipe further. So we can have the connection over there, so it's here, and then on the top it's over here, just to cut the pipe further. So you can see that's around the position. I'm going to cut the vertical pipe over there. I made a mark a little bit higher than that. Hopefully I would be able to manage to connect them together. Now I have cut the pipe, another section out of here. So you can see I just use sandpaper to make the edge smooth. Next I'm going to use the steel wool to clean it further. This is steel wool I bought from Wilco, and it's in fine, medium, and coarse. Hopefully the three, that should be the coarse, the medium, the fine. So whichever, not much difference. So I'm going to use the pink from the bottom. So this steel wool will get rusted if you have some water. So just use 1/3 of the pack. So if it's rusted, just throw it away. So keep the rest still clean. I'm going to use this to clean up here. Just like this, I'm going to use 2 hands. Hopefully, so you can see the result is going to get better. So you can see now it's much better. I cleaned it with the steel wool. I will do the same to the other pipe. So now I have got both the pipe shiny, clean. You can see here. So I think next I'm going to try to connect them together. So I think, because this is demandable, it really doesn't matter. I'm going to push this one to this bendable pipe, fold it in, and then try to put them over there. Maybe this first, and then next to this pipe. I got some marks. That's about the folded in position. So I will take this cap off. I think I don't need steel wool to do this. This is a new one, shiny. I'm just push it to the bottom using 2 hands. So I just push this in. I think see what's left. So that's original lens, and this is what left. Just push it in and try to pull it out. so it won't be out without locking this. So I'm going to twist after I got this side on. So at the minute it's still locked, but if you twist, it locks even better. And I'm going to do the same to the other end. A little bit dent over there, not good, but I have to use it. Now I have both ends to the bendable tube. Now I'm ready to put it into position over there. So I try to push this part in, but that part is still not in. I will try to do that part. It was quite difficult. I did mark something so that I knew if I put them into the position. And actually I removed from the top and then try to install the bottom first. After the bottom engaged all fully in, and then I try to lower down this pipe and lift the other pipe just to get them in. And I think it took me more than 10 minutes to manage to get all this in. And next we're going to lock the connector by turning, I think just like you're turning anything. We're going to turn, it's hard to turn. We're going to turn until this one close the gap over here and also here. And similarly to there, I'm going to use two hands to turn them to lock them further and seal better. So with the limited space, it's quite difficult to turn. So now you can see here, the gap closed. I'm going to turn all the rest because the space is limited. So we try to turn using hand. So with my hand, this is the best I could do. So I tried both hands and still there's some gaps. And the bottom here is nearly closed, and here is closed. I think even this is bendable, but still apply some force. I think if it's leaking, I'm going to use a spanner to turn them. Otherwise, I will leave them like this. So that's the job. Hope everything would be okay. Testing. I have turned on all the valves to the original position, and also I turn on the central heating out pipe and in pipe, and I top up the water, and I bleed all the radiators, and then I switch on the central heating, and now it seems heating very well. So it's very warm here, and we can have a look at our repair. So now you can see our repair. It's hot now. Seems no leaking so far. So the band pipe is okay. That connector, yeah, seems no leak. No leak over there. And we can't see any leaks, at least at the moment. So the job is done. That's I have waited for several years, and now finally have it sorted. And I think this connector, this is a JG connector. They said it's good for central heating, and definitely that pipe, bendable pipe, is copper, so it should be okay for central heating. So everything now central heating graded, and I hope it will work for several years at least. Finally, the part I used the pusher fit connector. It's the bead fit JG, suitable for central heating, and that's what I want, and two of them. And also I use a bendable copper pipe, so they work seems very well.